is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
You're joking. Well, let's get back to it.
Well, it's started. The papers are just giddy that in an election year there is the prospect of a little light war to take the mind off, absolutely everything that their party of choice has done to this country.
This government.
Exactly. Meanwhile, France and Italy and Germany have been accused of lacking the will to fight after they refused to join Britain and America in their defence of the Red Sea. European surrender monkeys.
No!
It's begun. The UK and the US launched airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen on Thursday night following attacks on naval and commercial shipping vessels. Meanwhile, Germany and Denmark and the Netherlands, Australia, the New Zealanders, Canada, South Korea and Bahrain signed a joint statement backing the US-UK strikes. However, Spain and Germany are among those remaining on the sidelines while the French Navy focuses on providing support to French-flagged ships. What's the matter? Are you scared? Last night, Rear Admiral Chris Parry, a former Royal Navy commander, chided them for their inaction. He said, he said the lack of political will and courage to deploy in the face of threats to the international rules-based system shows once again that it is the same old story with Europe. Craven appeasement and a policy of can't fight, won't fight. Or it could be just they thought spending billions of pounds bombing one of the poorest countries on earth, who are just sticking up for 2 million people who are left alive in Gaza for to be given the chance to live, might not be a great idea. They just might have thought that. But, if you're a little bit slow on springing into action and start hurling bombs around, well, but what does that say about you? The Mail says, in an apparent betrayal of its seafaring history, Spain's Defence Minister, Margarita Robles, confirmed that no Spanish ships will join the International Security Alliance against the Houthis. I'll read that sentence again. In an apparent betrayal of its seafaring history. So the Spanish are betraying themselves. Their seafaring history. Are they talking about the Armada? When ships sailed by the wind?
I know a lot about wind.
Yes, thank you, Donny, but that's not relevant. And neither is Spain's seafaring history, unless you think that what a country did 500 years ago should inform what they do today. The whole world's gone insane. Britain and the US are leading members of Operation Prosperity Guardian, which is made up of more than 20 nations committed to stopping the rocket and drone attacks. And doesn't that name bring positive goosebumps of pride? Operation Prosperity Guardian. Spanish Defence Minister Margarita Robles said Spain's refusal was based on a commitment to peace, and she was criticised for saying that her refusal to bomb a country is based on a commitment to peace. And if that's something to be derided, then surely a willingness to bomb is based on a commitment to war. I mean, if one's true, so must be the other. And you'd have to say that we and the Americans do seem to be addicted to war. I mean, it's almost as though that the people in the weapons companies are major donors to political parties. But that's probably just a silly thing to say. I mean, that would never happen, would it? France confirmed yesterday its sailors will continue to chaperone commercial ships under its flag along endangered shipping lines. However, their captains will not take orders from any foreign counterparts. We, on the other hand, are bouncing up and down like a puppy waiting for its master to throw a stick. How far do you want us to jump? And approximately how high do you want us to be when we're doing it? Yeah, it's begun all right. Those who oppose a war are enemies of the people, regardless of where they come from. Here we go again. And people marched today for peace. More than 200,000 pro-Palestinian marchers were in London for the first major demonstration of this year, as the Metropolitan Police confirmed that it had arrested a couple of people for carrying offensive placards.
What?
Offensive placards. I mean, are we back to the time when record shops got raided for displaying the Sex Pistols album in their windows?
Rock and roll!
Because I remember that. Highly offensive. I mean, we've got children starving to death in freezy, mouldy rooms. We've got people living on the streets, billions of pounds of our money vanishing under our noses and into the pockets of friends of the regime. We've got tower blocks made of flammable materials, schools in danger of collapse, a health service that's not really even an emergency service at this point. And the most offensive thing about any of that, based on the number of people arrested, is placards.
Oh, fabulous.
Around 1,700 police officers from the Met and other UK forces were mobilised amid fears that the escalating tensions in Yemen will bring more activists to the streets of the capital. Activists, they were. Also known as people who would quite like the state-sponsored killing to stop. You know, crazy people. Iran-backed Houthi rebels, whose slogans include, but are not limited to, death to Israel, have targeted commercial ships passing through the Red Sea in a show of solidarity with Palestine. Some protesters appeared to agree with the actions, shouting, "Yemen, Yemen, Yemen, make us proud, turn another ship around." Sounds like it should rhyme, but it doesn't. This is what they yelled as they marched through the capital. Others waved the Palestinian flags, chanting "Free, Free Palestine," as they continued to call for a ceasefire in war-torn Gaza. You know, hate marchers. Some protesters were seen holding placards claiming Yemen supports Palestine. One placard read, "UK plus US wants war. Yemen supports Palestine. Gaza wants to live." Well, whoever held that placard aloft deserves an indeterminate sentence. They're probably zealots.
No!
23,843 people have been killed, it is estimated, during Israel's counterattacks in Gaza, as it seeks to, supposedly wipe out Hamas. That's following the terror group's October the 7th attack, which saw about 1,200 Israelis murdered. 23,843 Gazans murdered so far. Israel's military is killing Palestinians, apparently, at an average rate of 250 people a day, which massively exceeds the daily death toll of any other major conflict of recent years, so said Oxfam. Oxfam is warning that people are being increasingly forced into smaller areas due to the constant bombardment as they're forced to flee from places that have previously been, they were previously told were safe, but nowhere in Gaza is truly secure. Over 1 million people, more than half the population, have been forced to seek shelter in Rafah on the Egyptian border. Oxfam staff in Rafah report massive overcrowding with very little food and water and essential medicines having run out. This crisis is further compounded by Israel's restrictions on the entry of aid, closing borders, imposing a siege, denying unfettered access. Currently, only 10% of the weekly food aid needed is getting in. 10%. 2/3 of those killed in the near-ceaseless bombing runs are women and children. 60,000 people among those wounded in Israel's campaign. But apparently, if you point that out, you're a hate-filled extremist. Home Secretary James Cleverly... Nominative determinism gone wrong. James Cleverly said that he had been briefed by the Met Police and said, "I back them to use their powers to manage the protest and crack down on any criminality." Because if there's one thing the regime will not stand for, it's people calling for an end to the killing. The majority of protests and other events held in recent months have taken place without any notable disorder, the Met Police said, but there have been a number of arrests. There have been repeated examples of placards and banners and other items being carried or worn, or statements being chanted that have crossed the line. Not statements, surely. In a review sent to the Home Office, Lord Walney, the government's independent advisor on political violence and disruption, is that his actual title? He said, disorder seen at the anti-Israel marches means there's an argument for groups to cover some policing costs. I see. What, like the royal family covered the policing costs of the coronation, for instance? Because I seem to recall there are quite a few bobbers around for that. Does the royal family cover the costs of policing of anything they do? Do ex-prime ministers cover the cost of their police guards for life? How about it, Liz?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Does the Lord Mayor of London pay for the security around his lovely parade? Do MPs pay for the policing of the state opening of Parliament? Does the billionaire in number 10 pay for his round-the-clock police presence? No. By mid-December, the Metropolitan Police alone had deployed up to 2,000 officers to the capital every weekend since the Hamas invaded to tackle the marches, which is said to have cost the taxpayer £20 million so far.
What?
£20 million. And the government is outraged about that on your behalf. Because if there's one thing that is their number one priority...
It's the country's number one priority.
...is saving us money. Any fool know that. £20 million for policing marches to stop mass killing. It's a very, very large sum, and the public should be furious. You should wake up angry, but not quite as furious as you should be about the £32 million that Education Secretary Gillian Keegan had spent tarting up her office as Education Secretary. £20 million for policing marches to stop mass killing versus £32 million for a new office for the Education Secretary. And it's the 20 million quid for the police bill that we're supposed to be angry about. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Now, despite all of that, I want to talk about happiness this evening, Happy-ness. And it's all about a country called Bhutan. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Bhutan this evening.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
I don't know why we don't just get Gavin Williams to tell the Houthis to shut up and go away. Julius Tech. These are texts and tweets and such from last night, of which I have a few to get through. Not many. Got through most of them last night. I'm a good boy, I am. Julius texts, your characterisation of the British on the world stage, barging in, taking stuff and shooting objectors, seems very much like the character and behaviour of the monarchy on a national scale writ large on the globe. I can't help but reflect that perhaps so much of what is rotten at the heart of our country and corrupt in the nature of our elites is derived from and apparently validated by the deeply enduring venal institution that is our monarchy. Keep up the good work, says Julius. Well, that's going to get the hem sniffers, their panties in a wad. His Majesty. Abby texts. See, I knew it was coming. It still made me laugh. Abby texts, because I have a mental image of the person who's going, when I do it. It's not just me making a funny noise. I have a mental image to go with it. I'll draw you a picture. Abby texts, America charged you for helping you to win in World War II. That is how special your relationship is. Yeah, I agree with it 100%. In fact, I agree with it 110%. I am 100% on it.
I am totally 100% on it.
Like peas in a pod, me and him. Totally agree with you, Abby. There ain't no such thing as a special relationship. It's just this, it's a desperate need for validation from us poor dopes in this country. We're just yearning for approval. Like some kid who's gawping at his blooming phone all day, just checking to see whether his little video that he made of him dancing has got any likes. That's us in America. Please like us. It's pathetic. Special relationship. Mitcham, hello, Leroy.
Yeah, Nick Abbott, enough respect, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, look, this is my second call to you now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, look,
How did the first one go?
No, I was talking to you about the referendum in Australia.
Right.
And it was outvoted.
Oh, that referendum in Australia. Right, yes, okay.
Why were they outvoted? Why was the...
Okay, this is a rerun of our previous conversation?
Yeah, why were they outvoted?
Or is this the content of your current conversation? Is this like the best of so far, or
right.
are we moving on?
Let me get to this one then.
Yes.
Right. I come here in 1962 from
1962.
Jamaica
Right.
as a British citizen, yes?
Okay.
But I'm
How do
still an
you
immigrant.
like it so far?
I'm still an immigrant.
Right.
Can you believe that?
Well, you'll always be, won't you? Technically.
But I was born a British citizen
In Jamaica.
in Jamaica.
Right.
1950 I was born there.
1950. Yeah, which makes you...
Yes. 74.
No, it makes you probably like 60-something? Probably about 60-something.
I am 74. Play the music again.
I'm afraid that you're just showing up your inability with maths, Leroy,
Right.
but we'll just draw a veil over
January 1950.
that. Yes?
And this is January 1924.
24. Yeah, just had to look at the computer to check on that. Yes.
Yeah, right. Work it out. Do the maths.
50 is 50 to 2,000 is like 150 plus the
Yes,
24 is 180. Blimey, you're 184 years old.
God, I feel like it, Nick, I tell you. But I tell you what, Nick.
Yes.
Look, no other country's going to bomb us or invade us.
Oh, bomb.
What natural resources have we got here?
For a moment, I thought you said bomb. Right, no other country's going to bomb us. That's what you said. Right, okay, carry on.
Right, what natural resources have we got? Who's going to invade us?
We got patriotism. We've got people yearn for a slice of our patriotism. We've got sovereignty. Don't forget that.
Sovereignty, yes. I tell you what, I'm not... there's no 3 lions on my shirt. And he's not my king.
No, well, not your queen either, I bet.
Never.
No.
The Aborigines king or queen. What do you say about that?
I didn't really understand the question. What was the question again?
In Australia,
Yeah.
who's their king or queen?
Who is the Australians' king or queen? Well, they're technically they're out. It's the same one, but they're not overly keen on the royal family. And as you would have to get into a space rocket and blast off from the planet to get further away, you can understand their point.
Yes, but the great British public have to wake up.
Yeah. Hey,
There's
wake up! It's later than you think, great British public.
They have to wake up. Look. Nobody's threatening us. You know, I am saying we. It's not we, really.
Yeah.
They're invading other country and bombing other country. Nobody's coming here to bomb us or invade us.
The reason given by the dear leader for us launching into another war in the Middle East is that the Houthis firing at ships would damage people's shopping. He actually said that.
Yes, of course, because there's an election coming up.
Oh, that, yeah.
Right, let me go back. You probably can't remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Right, when I come here, Macmillan was Prime Minister.
Yes.
And then it was Harold Wilson.
Right.
And then you had the Vietnam War.
Uh-huh.
Right? And Harold Wilson didn't align with the USA to go in that war.
Yeah, I've seen Apocalypse Now, and we weren't in it.
Exactly. So why do we have to go with the Americans now to fight their foreign wars? If Harold Wilson didn't go... You see, Harold Wilson is on the right side of history. And Sunak, I don't think he's on the right side of history right here.
Well,
now.
Sunak is just flailing around, trying to connect with anything, and failing, so getting increasingly desperate. For whatever reason, he wants to cling on to a job that he is so obviously unsuited for. I have no idea, other than to monetize the position. But my God, how much money does that man need? But that's the problem with people who are billionaires, and way too much is never enough. So if there's some other reason, like he wants to do best by his constituents. he wants to complete the job because he cares about us poor dopes who pay taxes. That's the only other reason I can think of.
Nick,
that he wants to cling on to that job that he's so desperately unsuited to.
You have said it, Nick. Us that's paid taxes. I'm an immigrant. 49 years I work here. Never been on benefits and pay my taxes.
Right.
And there's a lot of us, and he's spending it on, arms, sending how many billions to fight foreign wars.
Yeah. Well, the Houthis had the opportunity to donate money to the Conservative Party, but they singularly failed to do that, so they get what they deserve.
Yes, but Nick, listen, NHS, the doctors, the energy bill, our high taxes and everything like that.
Yeah.
What our tax money is going on? Not for this.
I have no idea. I mean,
wars.
it's been an issue that's occupied my mind for quite a while now, because the government has added £1.5 trillion to the national debt. Do you know what £1.5 trillion looks like?
Oh, God, I tell you, it could fill my house, I suppose.
Oh, are you kidding, Leroy? Do you live in Buckingham Palace? Fill your house and the street next to it, and the entire city.
Yes.
Mitcham would be absolutely chock full of £10 notes if I put £1.5 trillion in there. You could climb it all the way to heaven if you made a staircase of it. It's an unfathomably large amount of money. But what have they spent it on? I would love to know, because they haven't spent it on the NHS, and they haven't spent it on the police, and they haven't spent it on the libraries, and they haven't spent it on the local councils, and they haven't spent it on social care, and they haven't spent it on fixing the potholes in the roads, and they haven't spent it on the street lighting. And what the hell have they spent it on? £1.5 trillion.
They have spent it on foreign wars, I'm telling you.
No, Leroy, there haven't been enough foreign wars to chew through that kind of money that we've been involved in the last 13 years.
Well, I'm telling you, all these private jets and all those things then, and their private islands then, I would say.
Leroy, I want you to check underneath your bed to make sure that they didn't leave any under there. Can you do that for me?
Abbot, I tell you, I big you up, man. Enough respect to you, and this is my second call, and it's been great.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to our third and fourth. Excellent work there, Leroy. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Joan texts, I'd just like to say, leave Michael Fabricant's hair alone. It's doing its best. And Chris says, why do the Americans pronounce Iran as Iran and Iraq as Iraq, but pronounced Italy as Italy and India as India? Well, that's a good point, Chris. And is one probably made more fruitfully by saying it out loud rather than writing it down.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, and I suspect it will get a little bit crazier as we welcome Jonathan from Harrow. Harrow.
Happy New Year, Nick.
Yes, Happy New Year, Jonathan. How's it going for you so far?
Is it too late to wish you that?
Yes, I'm afraid so, yeah.
I had a few controversial points to make, but can I quickly say I buy your book, Perfectly Normal in a Good Run Well Country.
Yeah, that's not my book. My book's called Perfectly Normal in a Well-Run Country and is available in ebook form, or if you are a hippie, or paperback form if you hate trees. And it is available on an internet near you. Ask for it by name, Nick Abbott. Perfectly Normal in a Well-Run Country. It's got the A to Z of 2023 in it. I'm glad you asked me about this, Jonathan.
And just before I make my point, I want to say one complaint, if I can.
No.
You you killed Jimmy Carter. He is not dead.
I killed Jimmy Carter.
You have listed him in your book as dead.
Well, maybe somebody could do something about that to make the book more accurate?
Can I make a few points before, because I'm struggling financially. I can't even afford a business class ticket to Oslo, and I wanted to buy a new Jaguar car, and I can't buy that, so I'm not doing well. I'm having sleepless nights
because you can't get to Oslo in a relatively comfortable seat.
And I bought some luxury bookshelves actually, but I'm struggling overall.
You bought some luxury what now?
Bookshelves to put all my new books in.
Oh, luxury bookshelves. What do they look like?
Because I buy Michelle Obama's book, because she and her husband were angels.
Really?
But they were lovely. They were genuinely, they are the only two political figures. Nobody has, well, some of them have a bad thing to say about her because of the sexism, but the husband everybody loves, because even people like the Sadiq Khan, and this is where it gets a bit controversial, because I know that you used to not be anti-carbon, and I apologize I didn't vote for him because I thought he was the anti-Semitism and anti-Israel. But I know now with Starmer, I know that you are sort of getting more pro him, and I know you and James O'Brien love him very much. And
but only in a sexual way.
I think I will vote for him, but he has got no charisma, sadly.
No, totally lacking in charisma. That's correct, yeah.
I will have to, because I thought Rishi Sunak's voice is irritating, but then I listened to James O'Brien, and he has got... Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but he was playing the Keir Starmer Prime Minister question, and I can't live in this country if I have to listen to Keir Starmer voice every morning. Grates me.
Yeah, it's not necessary to listen to him. You can just, if you hear him coming on the radio, you can just turn it off straight away and put on Classic FM. I think you'll find it's a delight. It'll calm you right down, Jonathan, trust me.
Because this year we've got the UK elections, and then we've got the mayoral elections as well, and I'm so sorry I said bad things about Sadiq Khan, because I went to London and the new buses are all perfect. It is lovely and clean.
Apart from the ones that are on fire right now, yeah.
But he has made London, apart from all of the crime and marches and pollution and dirt and toilet on the street, it is lovely.
apart from that, it's a thumbs up from you. I got you.
I was surprised, because when I don't travel on public transport much in London, but I went to Croydon and I took a risk and I went on a bus. And it is actually quite nice. But can I quickly do my main controversial point?
Yes.
Because you won't like me for saying this, and I don't want to argue with you, because we're right at the beginning of New Year. It is the Christmas and New Year period, isn't it?
That's right. But...
And now Trump said something. I'm reading from the newspaper. He gave a speech yesterday in which he said, I think it was quite a nice speech. He said, and I'm just quoting here.
Trump gave a nice speech. Okay, can't wait to hear this. Go on.
I'm just quoting here because he was talking about the things that have happened in Ukraine and now Yemen and Israel also. And he said, crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, I believe he has gone mad. A stark raving lunatic. He is a mental catastrophe that will lead the world to World War III. No offense. He didn't say the no offense part.
No, right. He left off that no offense part. That must have been an error.
But I just honestly think that this Biden, I know you and James O'Brien love him very much.
But only physically.
He's an old man. He's an old man, and he's just not keeping tabs on what is happening in the world. Because you will hate me for saying this, but under Trump, at least, there was not all of this. The world was not on fire, because you need somebody in power who is charismatic, sexy, powerful, thinker, like the Bill Clinton, who has allegedly. You know, you need that.
Right, sexy. Well, that's one of the first things that I think of when I think of Donald Trump. And everybody does, as a matter of fact. Sexy. That's what the first thing that pops into my mind.
But can I just say the final point, that don't you think that Biden, he is just completely off the ball. He is just going around not knowing what's happening. The world can see we are the weak, and he is just going around sniffing women.
He does have it's true, yeah. He does have a habit of sniffing women. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
We need somebody powerful. Like I genuinely think Trump for the internationally was better. And if we had all of the anti-globalists like the Corbyn and Trump and Diana and the Julian Assange, these are the true people, because you need people who are going to stand up to the industrial military complex, because at least Trump was not as bad as Biden on the world stage, isn't it?
Well, if all of the people that you just mentioned can form a party, then they'll get my vote, no question about it.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, Jonathan. That was a missive from Harrow. 0345 6060 973. Simon says, I reckon Rishi may have been signing a deal with Ukraine as a backup safe country to send the boat people to if his Rwanda plan falls through. Yes. War? What war? Exactly. 0345 6060 973. Westminster. Hello, Ellen.
Oh, hello.
Nick.
Nick, yes, thank you. Thank you very much for your help.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I like your stance on things.
Thanks. My stance? What, like my Sajid Javid power stance?
Oh, no, don't mention Sajid Javid, because I can tell you one little story. I work in the NHS.
Right.
Well, I'm a bit semi-retired now. But Sajid Javid was due to visit the hospital. It was probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I happened to be sent a video a few days before his visit, and it featured a rat running around under an elderly lady's bed.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway...
Is this in hospital?
Yes, in the hospital in central London.
Right.
One of those renowned hospitals that you heard all about in COVID, because of their great, thing on research and everything.
Right.
But they weren't so good on the rats.
You're okay. Right.
No,
but what's that got to do with Sajid Javid, though?
But he was due to visit.
Yeah.
He was booked for a visit, and this was the reality. And I'm sure his visit probably was, all kinds of matrons lined up and things. And
yeah, what is that? That every time a government minister whose position on the NHS has been made clear for 13 straight years now, but every time they show up at a hospital, they have willing nurses to crowd around them and smile along. Where are they getting these people from?
Well, it's historical, Nick. Like when the NHS started, years ago, and whenever it was, 1940s, they had no Indigenous nurses, so they needed to send abroad and all that to the West Indies and Ireland. And, this country, I know this might be news to you, but there's a bit of an imperialist...
No.
Slightly.
What, like a superior attitude of the people in this country? I find that hard to believe, Ellen.
I know. It was amazing to me as well to find that out.
But
anyway.
I have to say, what's that got to do with the question I asked? Where are they getting these nurses from that are willing to stand for a picture and surround the minister of the day?
Because that's the culture they've grown up with.
I think it's more that some bloke walks in and he says, "I'm the Prime Minister," and they think, hang on a minute. We'll just humour him. Just smile, everybody, and eventually he'll just go away.
Oh yes, they do that as well. Yes, but
Ellen. One moment, please. You have to remember where you are. I had to just...
Westminster, I'm just down the road.
I know that, but you have to remember that you're on the radio. Just had to dump you there for a moment. There.
Yes.
You just lost your mind there for a moment, and you said something you shouldn't have uttered.
Disgusting.
So, best behaviour from this moment on.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Go on. Anyway, I was at the march today.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Was it a hate-filled march?
Oh, yes. huge amounts of hate. People calling for peace. You can't have that, you know.
No.
You can't have that. And people bending down and praying all the time on their mats.
Right.
Oh, no. We've got to stop that kind of thing.
Well, you'll have all of your names have been taken, Ellen, and it will go on your permanent record.
Yes. Well, I don't mind because I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right side of history, so I'm prepared to stand by it.
Right.
But, you know, the consensus was, Nick, that we're going to hell in a handcart, that we're finished now, that all this has started in the Red Sea. We're finished.
What World War III is forthcoming attraction?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyone, you know, someone today I met who's an activist, and he said, I'm not, you know, a highly educated person, but even I can see that this isn't going to end well.
You don't have to be Nostradamus to figure out that you know, the best may not come of this. Exactly.
Yeah, that our good days are behind us, I think, Nick.
Well, let's not get carried away because it might all end up fabulously well, Ellen. I kind of doubt it. I think that in the future people will look back on this time and think nothing but bad thoughts about everything that we're doing, and think perhaps, well, you know, the thing that is about to happen was inevitable and we should have seen it coming. But that's the thing about stuff like that, is that you never see it coming, even though it's blooming obvious at the time. I mean, think of the last financial crash of 2007-8. An idiot could have seen that coming, but no one did. Here, Ellen, got to go, but thanks for that. Keep on believing.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Richard texts, surprise, surprise. According to the press reports, the post office may go bust due to a giant tax bill on the payments to victims. So the government presumably thinks it can privatise the post office, but literally at a giveaway price to their friends if they allow it to go bust. The stuff that's happening in this country, I just cannot believe it. It's incredible, isn't it? Actually, no. It's worse than that. It's credible. That's the worst part. It is entirely believable. 0345 6060 973. Ross Lee. Alex.
Nick, good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Got slightly sidetracked from what I wanted to say, but on the post office thing, we have an overload of people saying we don't need human and workers' rights, and the same people screaming that postmasters need to be protected and saved.
Yeah.
I find that quite a bizarre...
Well, we live in a bizarre age, Alex, when the people that you're talking about who are screaming that we don't need human rights are the very ones that would yell the loudest if their personal human rights were infringed. But they also seem to think that what we really need... what we really, really want is a dictator.
They seem to lazy position as well.
They seem to yearn for a strongman dictator to really set about the wokies.
Okie dokie.
You know, the wokey-cokies and anybody else that irks them on a daily basis.
Someone tell me what to do every day. I find the dictatorship thing quite lazy. But,
well, I don't know. I think there's great comfort in being told what to do every day. It's what you get in the army. It's what you get in boarding school. It's, you know, like people feel comfort with that.
Choices, though, right?
Well, yeah, but people don't like choice. And neither do they like other people who have a choice. You want to sit down and shut up and be happy with it.
It is easier. On the army thing, you need to be 16 to join the army, but 18 to buy Call of Duty. That's another weird thing. But I mean,
is that right? You actually need to be 18 to buy a video game.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so you can kill someone in real life, but not on a video game at the age of 17. That is illegal. Right.
You need to get someone else to buy it for you.
It makes as much sense as anything else I've heard this year.
But, I mean, I left Swindon and all this tribal political stuff and moved to Northern Ireland.
Swindon?
Yeah.
Is there tribal political stuff in Swindon?
I went to school just off Upham Road, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I grew up just the other side of Queen's Park. Very, very beautiful area. growing up.
I guess people won't have any idea why this is relevant, but I lived on Upham Road in Swindon and went to junior school just down the road there.
I believe we went to the same junior school.
What was it called?
Holy Rood.
Holy Rood.
Oh, maybe you didn't.
Well,
it was behind the cadets. Back to the army. It was behind the cadets training camp and next to the special needs school.
You know what? I was it being junior school. I was quite young at the time, so I don't really remember.
Well, from growing up in Swindon, I'm obviously deeply scarred from this.
Well,
so
I can imagine.
I remembered an awful lot of it.
Yes.
But as I say, thank God I moved to Northern Ireland
where peace reigns.
Absolutely. I mean, on the funny side of it, the DUP have gone on strike.
From doing what? They've gone on strike. They've gone on strike from what?
They're moaning that it's not the Brexit that they wanted, despite the fact that they can't describe the Brexit
that they want.
They wanted, because obviously that would be an admission that they believe Boris Johnson, when he was hammered, told to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you're aware of the Alliance Party, but they are absolutely brilliant. They have no interest in going back to where the country's been, and everything is about moving forward.
Huh. What a revolutionary concept.
Yeah, so they're obviously hated by almost everybody.
I would think so.
It was fun campaigning with them, and I really enjoyed that, because it's just a nice, positive message rather than we hate the other side.
Well, what are their top 5 priorities?
Well, most of it is trying to turn employment within Northern Ireland and looking to unite Ireland in general as an island again.
Right.
That would be a large one. But the thing that people used to say in Northern Ireland when they were talking about unification was, we're not prepared to give up the NHS. Thankfully, between Brexit and the Tories, they've kind of taken that away.
Yeah, it's not something to really be that enamoured of anymore.
Exactly.
I think that saving the NHS, if that's what your proposal is, I'm afraid that ship's sailed.
Oh God, no, that's gone. We've got Health Service Northern Ireland here.
Right.
It's just as big of a nightmare.
Right.
I qualified for a degree recently and was hoping to work within mental health, but it's just a bin fire here. So, hopefully by the end of July, I should be moving to just outside Valencia to work on the diagnostic mental health manual.
Right. Well, Valencia's a lovely place.
I've never been.
Oh, it's very, very good.
I like Spain. I've been to other places in Spain, so I'm quite looking forward to that.
Yeah, Valencia has a lot to recommend it. They've got great food there for a start. They've got beaches there, but they also have this, what used to be a river running through that they've now made into a park with these buildings at the end by oh God, what's his name? Anyway, this architect, he's made all these buildings in this science and arts park that look like spaceships. You'll recognise them because they've been used in so many adverts, but they look like something that's just dropped in from space. They're amazing.
There's a bottle of wine and cheese for the afternoon, right?
And then cancel all further appointments. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. My ex-girlfriend was from Bilbao, so I've a smattering of Spanish, and every now and again it picks up. But if I've had a drink, it'll occasionally drift into French or a bit of German, and if I've been drinking tequila, Italian for some weird reason.
Just point, and whatever you're pointing at, that's what they'll give you. No problem at all.
I have this English accent. I can't.
You can't. You can't.
Refuse to go abroad.
You can't point
and shout at stuff.
Right.
I refuse to.
Right. Well, you are certainly leading the charge for people abroad to think better of us Brits, and I wish you the very best there, Alex.
Oh God, no! I'm a disgrace once I've drank the tequila.
Like I said, please don't leave the house. All right, thanks a lot, mate. Gotta go. 0345 6060 973. Paul texts, how is it that they cancelled HS2 and the cost is still going up? How did Venables get a CBE? How did they think replacing Peter Bone with his girlfriend was appropriate? I wouldn't trust that lot with a party in a brewery, let alone national security, says Paul. Yeah, well, quite right. Yeah, what's that about? Peter Bone gets replaced by the woman that he's going out with. It's like the Elphics. they're like providing us with dynasties here, like they're the Kennedys. Come on. Don't you have anybody else? It's painful. Peter says, I can't believe how the Tories sunk so low, where Sunak proudly says he'll cut welfare and public spending to cut taxes for the rich. They are sick with greed, says Peter. That is extraordinary, isn't it? They just don't care anymore, saying the quiet part out loud because, they're just not that bothered. I think they've come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter what they say, there's a certain element of people who will vote for them anyway. Those people seem to be, from the polling that I've seen from the last general election, the people that are most fervently in favour of the Conservative Party are those with the least money. Those who essentially are suffering from what the Tories have done to them seem most keen to vote for them. The whole world's gone insane. Explain it to me any other way. If you look at the ABC ones, where the people who have the most money are, and the C2DEs, the poorest of us, are more likely to vote Conservative than the richest. It's like the whole thing's been flipped on its head. But the only group of people that are guaranteed in the Tories camp are the old, which is also bizarre because we have among the worst levels of old age pension in the free world. I mean, just abysmal, just a terribly small amount, and yet they keep voting for them anyway. I'll sum that up for you. It don't make no sense. But then nothing does anymore. It's like we've walked through the looking glass with Alice. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Oh, by the way, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, the idea is we solve people's dilemmas. Now, if you have a dilemma that you want us to solve, then you must send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That is nickandcarol@global.com. And prepare to be totally satisfied. We're taping tomorrow. It's twice a week now, Mondays and Fridays. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? I think you'll love it.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
Yes, thanks, Tim, for telling us what the football results were. Now I don't have to waste my time on the edge of my seat wondering who is going to win watching Match of the Day.
Damn it!
Gina texts, today on the news, I noticed that Rishi is taller than Zelensky. I imagine he'll be going there more often. Well, that's just rude, Gina. R-O-O-D, rude. Let's have Ealing Mohammed.
Hello, hi.
Yes,
hi,
sir.
Nick, how you doing? You're right.
Yeah, good, thanks.
What can we say about this dodgy lot? I don't know what's going on, mate. What they're doing with all the money?
No idea. Yeah. Spreading it around themselves, having showers with it, filling their pools with it. I don't know.
Or making VIP COVID contracts. But what I didn't get, Nick, is look at all our institutions in the country. They are all completely, utterly failing.
Yes, crumbling.
Especially the police, the Met Police. Mm-hmm. Look at the Met Police. What's Mark Rowley and his con coppers up to? You know what I mean?
Con coppers.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It's
that
an
means.
absolute thing.
Everything that your tax pays for seems to be failing for I would imagine a lack of money, which begs the question: if they've added 1.5 trillion pounds to the debt, where's the 1.5 trillion pounds gone?
Absolutely, have absolutely no idea. But what I do know is, Nick, we live in a very, very, very sick world run by completely sick people, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me.
Ultimately, the 99% keep getting richer and richer. The middle class, they pay all of the taxes, do all of the hard work, and the lower class are there just to scare the hell out of the class, while the rich keep running to the bank. And there's no hope. There's no leaders,
No hope.
If you're having people like Biden, Sunak, and Macron, leading the world,
Well, I'm not sure that Sunak will be leading the world. Might be have a hard time leading the country. Never mind about the world.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But look at the one that's going to possibly replace him.
Oh well, if that happens, then we are doomed.
Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
Yeah,
don't ever talk to the president like that.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like?
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Mohammed. No hope, you say. 1.5 trillion pounds they've added to the debt. Where's it gone? And do you know what a trillion is? I mean, it's one of those numbers that's just so fantastically huge, it's very difficult to keep in your brain. I did have Santiago Calatrava, that's right. He designed all those buildings in Valencia. The message coming in from next door, my glamorous assistant, on the ball, as always. Calatrava, it's a marvellous thing. I think they call it the Science and Art Park. When I went there, none of the buildings really had anything in them. I think their imagination and their desire to get ahead. I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but so that'll do. They sort of got ahead of themselves. They put all these fantastic buildings up, but didn't have anything to put in them. But it's definitely worth a visit. I mean, it really is unlike any collection of buildings you've ever seen in your life. But 1 million seconds. I'll do the seconds thing. I mean, I could do the pile of money, but it gets very complicated because what kind of money are we talking about? We're talking about £1 notes. We haven't really got them anymore, but that would be most instructive. Because £10 notes, you got a lot of money in a small stack of £10 notes. But with £1 notes, you knew where you were. So I'll do it in seconds. Here's an idea of what a trillion is. 1 million seconds is 12 days. 1 billion seconds, 31 years. 1 trillion seconds is 31,688 years. Did you know that? So it's not really... it's not as you would expect. It's not really, I suppose it is linear, but it doesn't appear to be. 1 trillion seconds is 31,688 years, and they've added £1.5 trillion to our debt, while telling us that they are concerned about wasting public money. And people in this country are nodding sagely and going, yes, that's quite right, Rishi Sunak. You should be concerned. We're fully on board with that whole being concerned for, spending public money. Wants to save us money. £1.5 trillion. Where's it gone? I mean, genuine question. What have they done with that money? Where has it gone? Because we all owe it. It's on our debt. That's what's weighing us down. That's why they say, well, we can't afford to pay junior doctors what they're worth. So junior doctors will, in large numbers, say, oh, OK, well, see you later. We're off to Canada or Australia, and we'll go and heal sick people there. And the best of luck to you and yours. And we'll wave them bye-bye because we can't afford that. and you could lose your car in the potholes in the roads because apparently we can't afford to fix those either. And we can't afford to build a railway that goes from here to there without it ending somewhere near the centre of Birmingham and somewhere on the outskirts of London that no one has previously heard of. Because to do more than that would cost more money, and we haven't got any money because we've only added £1.5 trillion to the debt, which stood at £1 trillion when they took over. So they doubled it and then half as much again. And where's it gone? Don't you think that something should have got better over the last 13 years if they'd spent £1.5 trillion? I mean, it should have bought something, don't you think? I mean, a shiny new hospital, perhaps. A new police force, maybe. Roads so smooth that you could play billiards on them, perhaps. Insulate every home in the land, maybe. Provide free fuel for those in need. Free food at school for children who might otherwise starve. You know, just fripperies like that. But it's been spent and it's gone and we've got nothing to show for it. And on top of that, they've sold everything that used to be ours. Name one thing that you think of as British that is in fact still ours. We are, it's worth reminding yourself on a daily basis when you do your ablutions.
Disgusting.
That we've sold our water. We're the only country on earth that has been so stupid as to sell the most precious thing we own, our water. If they could have sold the air, they'd have done that by now. 0345 6060 973. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Bangor, Aldo.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I was just trying to think about this where did all the money go thing, and I had this idea that you can only really make money by taking out a debt, which has interest.
I'm sorry, Aldo. Here we go again with the phone lines. Here's another thing that doesn't work in this. No, it's not you. Here's another thing that doesn't work in this country, the blooming phones. I take a call from people who are thousands of miles away and it comes through clear as a bell. Take a call from someone just down the road in this country and you can't hear a blooming word they say. Nothing works here. Anyway, carry on. We'll struggle along and I'll hear every other word you say. Go on.
Okay, we'll try and do this then. So, from what I can tell, there's only one way to get money, actually make money, and that is to take out a debt. At that point there, the bank can print, I think, £9 for every pound it's got. Get it out. Then it has to take interest back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Aldo. It's painful. It really is that bad. You're trying to explain something complicated to me, and I'm trying to. It's like trying to deconstruct code. I'm hearing every other word, and I have to make a sentence out of the small shards of what it is that you're saying that I'm hearing. Painful. £1.5 trillion. We can't even get a phone system that works in this country. You know, we've got the slowest 5G of any major economy. The slowest in the world of any major economy. That's why your phone hangs all the time, even though it's saying you've got super fast 5G. But we don't. It might say 5G, but it actually isn't. Everybody else's is faster than ours. Nothing works here. Oh, you want me to try again and see if we've sorted it? Oh, OK then. Bangor, North Wales. Aldo.
Yeah, just up the road from the Marconi building, actually. Right. Anyway, an Italian comes over here and shows us how to do transmission. But so the money thing. If the only way to make money is to take out debt.
Why is that the only way to make money?
Well, how else do you actually make money?
By selling things?
No, that's transferring money from one person to another.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Well, no, a government can just magic money out of thin air.
Well, they take out debt, technically, don't they? They borrow it from someone.
Well, they don't have to. They can just magic it by clicking a couple of keys on a computer board, and it can appear as such.
Sort of. As far as I'm aware, the only proper way to make money...
easing.
Yeah, that's... but again, that's still some... Yeah, there is something with that. But the most important way that the money is made is by us taking out debt. So every time we go to the bank and take out debt, we take money off the bank that they print about £9 for every pound that they've got.
But they don't actually print it, though.
Well, no, they conjure it out of thin air.
Right.
But the point is that they can only do that with an interest rate.
They can only do that with an interest rate.
So therefore, if you print out £1 million,
yes,
and you hand that out,
but you don't actually print it.
Well, let's for argument's sake, we'll do this as an exercise. We'll print out £1 million.
Yes.
Okay. And we'll hand it out to
me,
some number of people.
Right.
But they have an interest rate. They all have to pay back an interest rate on top of that. Okay.
Yes.
And then they transfer the money between themselves for a little while. But in the meantime, each of them is making a payment back. But eventually, someone is not going to be able to pay back because the interest is now higher than the amount of money available to pay back.
I'm sorry, Aldo. You appear to be talking economics at me, and my brain shut down about 3 words in. If it's anything to do with numbers, I'm afraid I'm unable to concentrate.
And 1,
2,
2,
3,
6 million.
6 million. Yeah, I'm about as good with numbers as that bloke. But what's your point, though, Aldo?
You can pay it back because you're the interest. Somebody borrows some more.
Yeah, no, please don't go with further explaining. Don't explain it anymore, please. I'm begging you. I'm on my knees. I'm looking out the window, dreaming of double physics. No more explanation. Just get to the point. Just get to the punchline.
Well, that's where all the money is. It's all in the interest. We're just continually borrowing money to pay off the interest. That's why house prices are so high, because that's another way of depositing debt onto the future. You just keep on piling debt into the future, and eventually someone gets left with the package that's got,
Yeah, it's like a big balloon that keeps on going up and up and up, and it can only go up so high before it pops, and then we'll be in trouble. Then we'll have whatever was inside that balloon all over us. All right, thanks a lot, Aldo. That was E101, and it will be on the test.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
0345 6060 973. Let's see now who's been waiting the longest. I'll be totally fair about this. It's West Devon. Hello, Rose.
Hello, Nick.
Rose.
Yes, Nick. Well, I walked into town today and popped in the co-op and got your book.
No, you did not.
I honestly did.
It wasn't in the co-op. Not in the co-op. What are you talking about?
No, I'll explain. My sister Kate ordered it online for me.
Yeah, that's the book that's called Perfectly Normal in a Well-Run Country by Nick Abbott, available in ebook form for hippies and paperback form for those who hate trees. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Perfectly Normal in a Well-Run Country by Nick Abbott. And it comes with, by the way, as a free extra, a cover with a cute little clown on it. Not a scary clown. Right. It's a cute little clown. To give the notion that we are in fact being run by clowns.
Yeah. Wait.
We are being run by great big greedy nincompoops.
The great big greedy nincompoop.
Like that.
Yes, I'm looking at it now as we speak. Yes, It's lovely. And I've started it. Well, what happens, you see, was then I got this text from her saying, you can also pick it up from Morrison's, the Co-op, or what was the other one? The post office. And then you won't have to pay the postage and packaging because they send it by ordinary mail to those 3 places.
Right.
So I thought, well, that's great.
The big magic lockers, those things.
That's it. That's what my friend in the health shop said. They have lockers, yeah.
They're good, those. I mean, it's a tremendous idea, so that you don't have to wait in all day for a delivery that might not arrive, which just drives me up the wall. Waiting for people to deliver things it's one of the worst things that has ever happened to humankind. That's a factor, Rose. You want to write that down. So those magic lockers that they have in supermarkets, they're great.
Yes. So I picked it up and... But I had another thing to say, which is it's really triggered by these extravagant podia that people who rule us were standing in front of.
Yeah, I was talking about this yesterday. Is it podia?
Yes. Well, according to Sam, it was, yes. It will be, won't it? If it's podium, it'll be podiar, if you remember your Latin, darling.
Not podii, because that would be ending in an S in the singular. Like radius.
If it was podios, it would be podi-e. Well, we used to say, when it's a double E, podi-e.
No.
We used to say...
That would just be podi.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, never mind. Pons pontis. No, it's no good. It's no good. I'm going to drive myself mad. Well, I just feel it's about... I think deep down they know they're not up to the job.
Who?
And the way...
The co-op?
The people... No, we've gone past the co-op.
We've gone past the co-op, we've gone past the post office. Where are we now?
Well, we're standing at the front there.
Oh, I think we need a cup of tea. Why don't we go in here, Rose, and we'll get a nice cup of tea and think about it. Get out the cold.
Lovely. Yes. Well, you see, then... They can say, I must be a worthwhile person because I've got a £4,000 podium. You haven't, have you?
Oh, those ridiculous people and their stupid podia. Yeah. And the most ridiculous was Liz Bloomin' Truss, of course.
Absolutely.
With her twisted podia, which cost £4,700.
What?
For a podia.
Right. Yes.
And, by the way, I was looking at a picture of all of them, side by side. And Gordon Brown's podium. Did you see that? We should really tweet that picture. Yeah, we should tweet that picture out because it looks like he's taken a television off the stand that a school class would use to put a TV on, to show the class the result of driving too fast. You remember those old videos? Yeah, those. I don't know whether they still show them. Probably not, for the fear of what it might do to them. Might trigger their trigger them.
Well, I should think the hard pornography that they can put on online probably triggers something.
Yeah. In comparison, you might be right. Yeah, immune to it they are. But it looked like he'd spent about £2 on his podium. That it was cobbled together from bits that he just found around the place, and he thought that'll do because what do I need to stand behind something that cost £5,000 just to hold up a piece of paper for, said Gordon Bloomin' Brown,
exactly.
the last serious person to run this country.
Yes, because he didn't need it, because he doesn't need accoutrements and lavish wealth to make him feel that he actually is worthwhile.
Correct, because he is worthwhile.
Yes, he's not conceited, but he has a strong sense of who he is,
self-worth.
And what he's doing.
Yes,
Whereas
precisely.
These people, they know perfectly well. They have neither the brain nor the person, the character.
Character,
to discharge the job that they've been given. And I mean, all they can do is talk trivia about things like rape and child poverty. They're beyond pathetic. And they have to pile more and more money. Anybody who's getting more and more money far beyond what they need, it's because they have no self-esteem inside. I'm absolutely sure. Because that's why it goes on and on, Nick.
Yeah.
Because it never works.
That's right.
It's never going to give you that self-esteem.
I think over a certain amount, I mean, they say that money doesn't bring happiness, but of course it does up to a certain point. If you can't afford to eat, then money, of course, will make you happier, but it only works up to a certain point. And if, for instance, you have £1 billion to your name, then having a bit more isn't going to make you happier. We've reached the point of the
saturation.
Well, yes, it's the what's the psychological phrase? The law of diminishing returns. an extra billion isn't going to make you twice as happy. It just won't. So let's say after £100,000 a year, an extra money isn't going to make you happier. It just won't.
No, pursuing a substitute. You know, for what you really
for
need,
approval.
which is self of your own worth, sense of your own worth.
Approval.
Yeah,
you want approval from your wife's father, for instance. Yeah, I'm not thinking of anybody in particular.
This government,
but have somebody in mind.
But even from yourself, it's just, I think it's the sense of not really approving of yourself, because you know perfectly well you're not up to what you're doing.
Right, you are
and
not.
You haven't sort of done anything worth doing.
Yeah.
Or thought anything, worth.
Yes, you have low self,
thinking about.
A low opinion of yourself, which coincides with the regime with the rest of us. We have a low opinion of them too. It's the only thing we.
There's another thing.
It's the only thing we agree on.
Yes, about Titchy suits. It was lovely to see it written down, Titchy suit size.
Right.
In the book. About him, he's got this timid voice which is in the back of his throat. That's why it's so difficult to listen to.
I don't know if it's in the back of his throat, because to me it's in the front of his mouth. It's all like...
Oh, it is?
Yeah, to me it's like when I do him, or make a pathetic attempt at impersonation, it's all with the lips.
Oh, it sounds to me as if it's just behind, going into the throat, actually, funny enough.
Okay, Rishi Sunak, open wide, and we'll check where it's coming from.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I mean, can we stand this any longer?
I don't know if I can. Yeah, I'm considering just skipping days. When I'm not on the air, I just might stay in bed.
Oh yes, I do stay in bed actually, quite often.
Oh, you don't want to do that, Rose. You want to bounce out of bed in the morning and greet the day with a song.
Well, you just said you're going to.
Well, that's for me. You
well, that's because you're doing a job.
Exactly.
Mine are different.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that stillness. I just think I'll just be still and stop thinking.
Oh, I can do that straight away. I don't have to concentrate to stop thinking. That's my resting position, not thinking.
Yeah, that's a very good place to get. Have I got time to mention one more small thing?
No.
No?
Oh, go on.
Oh, just I have.
Yeah, go on.
Well, it's just, it's of no consequence at all. But
oh, great. Well, then it fits right in.
When you were talking to that gentleman or that chap, and he was explaining the money thing, I had to stop listening because I knew I couldn't follow it. And it reminded me of, there were just some things that certain people's brains, they doesn't do it.
Yes.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I was reminded of when this wonderful mechanic up here was sort of pretty much rebuilding my engine on my beloved little motorbike. And, he obviously thought I was a woman of reasonable intelligence, and he got this piece of paper and he said, look, this is what I'm doing or going to do. And he started drawing a diagram. And frankly, he lost me at diagram and he drew it. And, I really did try to follow. I could not follow a single thing.
Well,
I just thought then,
some people have
my brain doesn't do that.
Right, and I found something that my brain can't do just the other day, and I was really surprised. I was actually quite shocked. I've hardly ever come across something that I just cannot do at any level.
Yeah.
And I sat. Well, hang on a minute. I sat there dumbfounded. I thought, well, this is an easy thing. Everybody does this thing. Why can't I get past square one? Whereas anybody else would have probably completed the task toot sweet. And it wasn't that I was slow at it. I just couldn't do it at all. And I guess I'll have to tell you about that in a minute.
Oh, what was it?
I'm sorry, Rose, but that's all the time that we have. Thanks, Rose. Another satisfied customer.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
It's a radio show, dear. 0345 6060 973. Rajesh texts, surely the Houthi rebels are on Rishi Sunak's side. They're just trying to stop the boats. Stop the boats.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, wrong way around.
The people's priorities.
It's the country's number one priority.
It isn't.
It's my number one priority up and down the country, and that will be our focus.
He's gripping
my
it.
absolute number one priority.
My number one priority is to protect this government.
Well, what I want to reassure people is that this will be my number one priority.
Number one
People should be
priority.
absolutely reassured that this is a top priority for me. I'm gripping it.
He's gripping it. He's actually, it's a combination of very nasal with a certain amount of sibilant. So annoying. No offence. 0345 6060 973. Derby. Hello, Simon.
Evening, Nick.
Simon.
I found one place we're spending our money on the government hospitality wine cellar.
Booze. Yes, exactly. It's so much money, they won't tell us how much it is.
Well, they did yesterday. It came out. It was on the BBC.
You're joking.
No, they said they spent $27,000 buying wine during the COVID pandemic. They bought 638 bottles of Bordeaux, and next year they bought about £12,000 worth. But it tells you how many they drank as well, or how many were used. Pre-COVID, not 2019-21, 3,300 bottles a year.
Yeah.
Which is about 9 bottles a day, isn't it? But then during COVID, 130 bottles, 2020 to 21. That must have been all Boris. And then the year after, 1,300 bottles.
Wow.
Yeah, it's worth 3.6 million, the seller's contents of.
Well, it's a small amount of money. It doesn't really add up to 1.5 trillion,
no.
but it gives us an idea of what they were on when they were spending the rest of it.
Well, they claim that it pays for itself because they sell.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They buy them and then sell them years later when they're worth more. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
But on the other hand, we've paid for them to buy it in the first place, and then they just get to drink loads of wine on that
our
we paid
time.
for, effectively.
Yeah, at work.
Yeah, I mean, I go to work. Well, in the past, when I went away to work, and stayed away, they pay for your hotel. But then, about 8 years ago, it was like, yeah, we'll pay for your dinner, but you can't have alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
That's even at night when you're clocked off.
Right.
What are they doing drinking in the day or any time of the day?
Well,
it's a place of work. It's not a bar, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, it's a unique place they work in that has, I can't remember exactly, so I'll make it up, 18 separate bars and restaurants. Can you believe that?
Yeah, all subsidised.
By us poor dopes who pay taxes. Yeah, it is unbelievable. From March, I've just found it, from March 20 to March 2021, 14 grand was splashed out on 516 bottles of red Bordeaux wines, costing £28 each. Who
Why can't
pays?
they go to Costco like we do? And get a
Exactly.
£5
Who
bottle? They're just as
picks a 28 quid bottle of wine off a supermarket shelf? I mean, if you were in a restaurant, then yes, okay, I get that you would spend 28 quid on a bottle of wine. Although it
on
does
a
tend,
£5 bottle of wine, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Although it does tend to be coming in at more than that these days. But £28, I've never picked a £28 bottle of wine off a supermarket shelf in my life, apart from when I have done it on behalf of the people who are drinking it in number 10 blooming Downing Street.
It's just... But they just think they deserve it all, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, this is how we live. Everybody lives like this, don't they?
Yeah, well, they certainly do, yeah. All right, thanks for the bad news, Simon. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. MPs have 23 points of sale for meals and snacks, including but not limited to 8 bars at Westminster. Peers have several of their own, comes the information from next door. Yeah. Well, I told you about that time that I went to Buckingham Palace. Not the time just recently, because I went there hoping to get a slap-up meal subsidised by the public. Because I thought, once in my life, I might as well cash in. So I went to see Prime Minister's Questions, and thought I'd enjoy a luncheon afterwards. But it was the last Prime Minister's questions of the session, and so everyone was getting hammered after that, and all of the restaurants were booked up. But previously I'd gone there, like many years ago, and I've described in detail the drunkenness that I saw. I've never seen anything like it. Old geezers literally bouncing off the walls, they were so drunk, being held up by suspiciously young blokes. It looked very odd. Everything about it looked a bit fishy, you know? Floppy-head youths were holding up these harumphing old geezers who were so drunk they couldn't stand up straight. All looked a bit odd to me. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good evening. Nick.
Yes, Jan.
Good evening. Yeah, I've got a few important points. Well,
not important points.
No, I've got a few points to make.
Can you give them to us in order of importance?
Can I just first say I'm glad that your caller Rose in Devon mentioned about the way to order your book, because I was looking forward to getting it this week from Amazon, but I'm going to do it this way because things can disappear. They don't always. It's a bit nerve-wracking ordering things from Amazon and getting them delivered, because they can sometimes leave them outside in the hall, the porch, and people walk off. You know, anyone can go off with your...
I know, yeah.
So
they left it in a safe place, and somebody took it. Not safe at all.
Yeah, so to have it in a locker, that's great. Yeah. I'm so glad, and now all your callers will know, won't they? Your listeners will know that.
It's a great step forward in in ordering online. Those magic lockers that they have. Sometimes they have them outside, don't they? Outside petrol stations.
Outside. I think they got one outside.
So much better than waiting in all day for a delivery that might not come. Okay? That is just the bane of my life. I mean, I like ordering things online, kind of. I mean, I prefer to touch it, feel it, squeeze it and sniff it before I buy it, rather than just take a plunge and order it online. but you know, it's the convenience sometimes. You know what you want, and it's better to order it online. But then you have to just wait in. They say they're going to be there between 10:12 and 12:12, and 12:11 comes around and there's still no sign of them. So you think, oh God, do I have to wait in the entire day? Because if you miss them, then you've got to wait in another day.
And you, or if you've got a porch that they leave it out there, or leave it with a neighbour, you may never see it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Especially the neighbour on the left there, because you know what they're like. Nightmare.
Yeah, but I'm so looking forward to getting it this week. But
right.
Nick,
getting what, Jan?
Your book.
Oh, the book that's called Perfectly Normal. In a well-run country. In a well-run country, yeah, by Nick Abbot.
I've seen the cover of the clown
online.
on it.
Yeah, cute.
Yeah. So, I'm really looking forward to it. So I get it the safe way.
Right.
Yeah. So Nick, I was ringing up to make a couple of points about how democracy works when it comes to instigating military action, like what happened with the cabinet, the Cobra, what they call the Cobra, isn't it? They traditionally call them.
Oh, yeah. Gordon Brown used to call it Cobra.
Yeah, the Cobra meetings where they can make emergency or instigate military action outside of Parliament. I mean, that's the way. It's just like
I think it's just an emergency meeting. I think it's just an office that they meet in cases of emergency. You know, like when they run out of booze, they'll have one of those meetings, and somebody will have to nip down a supermarket with a suitcase.
No, but Nick, that's where they made the decision to attack to do the military strikes.
Yeah, I bet it isn't. I bet they made that decision and then had a meeting.
No, they didn't. So what's happened is that Starmer, I think it's interesting because it's like democracy works funny with this, but Starmer and the Liberal Democrats and also the Scottish National Party say any military action should be scrutinised by the Commons. So they're pressing on Sunak to because, well, Parliament wasn't sitting, but it will next week. And so they made those decisions outside of, well, anyway, they're allowed to do it. It's not illegal to do that. But the thing is now they're pressing on Sunak to explain the scale of the operation to the MPs so that they can vote on it. Because apparently Lord Cameron, he once lost the House of Commons vote going back when he made a decision for military action, against the Syrian leaders. So he could lose the Commons vote about if they don't agree, if the parties don't agree with what the next stage. They want to know the nature and extent of what's going to be done.
Yeah, Keir Starmer isn't going to disagree with Rishi Sunak about anything. I mean, we know that about the man, that he doesn't disagree with him in public anyway about anything, fearful of the reaction to saying anything other than what the dear leader has said.
But I thought it was interesting that apparently he made a jibe about Sunak because there's this thing about, or they're saying Sunak is acting like action man on the world stage, like dashing off after having that Cobra meeting with this decision about, the Houthi attack, then dashing off to the Ukraine and to meet Zelensky and
he's dashing off here, there and everywhere just to find somebody who likes him.
Like action man, on the world stage.
Hardly action man, my eye.
I know. And then he's planning to give 2.5 billion over the next year to Ukraine.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, compared to what America's giving, America's been giving.
Yeah, well, America's got no end of money. Yeah, we ain't got no money. Apparently, we haven't got any money. Apparently,
they don't give the money. No. Biden wants to extend it to 47 billion to the Ukraine.
Yeah, sure, why not?
But where do they get? I bet he's not going to get the money. They won't vote.
Well, we haven't got the money to pay junior doctors and enough to stop them from flying away to treat sick people in other countries. So it seems remarkable to me that we've got enough money to spend £200 million on drones to send over there, and however many billion pounds it is on aid for whatever it is that they spend it on, and they've got no end of money to do the things that they want to do that they think will reflect well on them. But when it comes down to improving the lives of the little people, the little people, then they ain't got no money.
Nick, can I just make a point about what Starmer had a jibe to say about Sunak being, wanting to be action man on the world stage? He said he's like inaction man.
Yeah.
And it's because of, he's saying he's running around on the world stage, but while there's a creaking NHS and stagnant economy, and he's calling him inaction man because of all the things that aren't being done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cute.
So he's not agreeing with him on everything.
Well, I suppose so. Eventually, they're going to have to part ways. Yeah, here, Jan, and eventually we're going to have to part ways too. Sad but true.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
It's just a big sack of monkey nuts. Best if you think of it that way. Fishy says that it is perfectly acceptable to deploy military action on anyone who disrupts the free movement of trade. That means that Uncle Nige and any of his friends should expect a missile coming their way sometime soon. Yeah, good point. How's Brexit working out, by the way?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it. Got a delivery for you. John texts, say what you like about Sunak's pronunciation, dodgy clobber, inch deficit and oily Barnett, but he did catalyse Johnson's departure. Posterity should give him credit for that act of public service, if not the aftermath. No, John, I don't think you get any credit for that. Stepping over the prone, bubbling form of the person that you're taking the job of, The
great, big, greedy nincompoop.
The great, big, greedy nincompoop. Zero credit for that. Colchester, hello, Judy.
Hello there, Nick.
Judy.
Thank you. Always enjoy that, as you know. I thought this was a little gem to tell you. Like most places in this country, we're not getting our potholes and all these sorts of things repaired.
Yes.
And in another village, not that far away from me, bit of a busier village, there's a little mini roundabout, and it does get very congested. Yeah, a little mini one.
How little is it?
Quite little for the amount of traffic that has to try and negotiate round it.
Yeah.
Any road up, they've had on this little mini roundabout, there's been a growing pothole.
Yeah.
And obviously the residents have been on and on about getting it done. Well, it was done about a week ago. The trouble was, when the men came, because there's also a drain cover there as well.
Yeah.
They've tarmacked over the whole lot, the drain cover as well. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Morons. We're surrounded by morons.
It is just, I mean, in my village, I'm doing battle because when we have serious rain, there's a blockage and it literally gets flooded outside the village school, and the children are expected to walk out in the road to avoid the water. It's that deep.
Well, they don't want to get any on their shoes. Can you imagine?
No, well, I mean, they don't really want to have it dragging them in the school. But I mean, if children being expected to walk out into what is a busy road to avoid going through the water in order to get into their school, if that doesn't make the powers that be think we better get this done quick, well, then I don't know what will, quite frankly.
Well, you know what will is if posh schools are affected by that sort of thing.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And guess which posh school was affected by that sort of thing?
Well, where our MPs have gone in the past, that sort of thing?
Yes. Eton. Correct.
Well, ours looks like a right eating mess outside when it rains, I tell you. It's just...
I wouldn't go anywhere near that mini roundabout if I were you, Judy, because if they've tarmacked over the manhole cover, then the pressure that will build up down there, and when it blows, it'll be all over you.
Yes, well, I don't have occasion to go down that neck of the woods, so I'm quite safe. But yes, it's you had these things spotted. People put it all online, don't they, on Facebook and that. I don't do that, but I just thought that was a little gem. I thought, well, you literally cannot make that up. So,
but it is sadly entirely predictable.
Well, it is. I mean, we don't expect anything to get done nowadays. And
Nothing.
To be honest, I'll tell you the other thing, in my village, they've decided they're going to put padlocks on all the, you get your little notice board cabinets, you open the door. They're going to put padlocks on all of those.
Why?
And why? Because sometimes they can't get their particular paperwork in them from the parish council, so they don't want people just putting things in there. So
willy-nilly.
Yeah, willy-nilly. Which, to be fair, it's only advertising a coffee morning or something like that.
Yeah.
And so now you either go to the office and hopefully there's someone there. If there's not, you have to ring up and make an appointment to take your poster along to see if it's suitable.
Well, this is a country now where they have to put security tags on tins of beans in the supermarket, and they have to lock up the notice board, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Blimey, what a life, eh, Judy? Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. Here's that story about Eton College. The doors of Eton College stayed shut this week after toilets in its boarding houses became backed up as a result of recent floods. Tankers sent to the area by worried Thames water chiefs were trying to solve the problem, which has delayed the start of term. Yeah, I bet they were blooming worried and all. The people that send their kids there. Freaking out, I bet they were. And you had better believe that the authorities will move heaven and earth to get this fixed, because it's Eton. And their little darlings go there. But if the same happens in your comprehensive, well, please do not be disappointed if you don't get the same swift response. Eton School had to tell parents to keep their children away amid fears of the damage of over 1,000 boys could add to the systems. A desperate message read, I am very sorry to say that Thames Water have just alerted us to the fact that their sewerage drains are backfilling due to floodwater. The sewers in the centre of Eton won't cope with the arrival of nearly 1,350 boys, the note said. Maybe the Etonians could simply go on the rest of the population so that we might get used to our life ahead. What do you say, Smug?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
He's fully on board. Eton charges 50 grand a year per pupil. And the most useless ministers of the last 14 years, as well as the current Foreign Secretary, Diddy David Cameron, attended that school. Which means it's not the people coming out of the little boats that are the problem. It's the people coming out of Eton. Isn't that right, Dave?
I think this is nonsense.
Absolutely. Isn't that right, Bodger?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
There's a crisis engulfing the water industry because the singer with the undertones has made it his business to illuminate just what an absolute shower are the people that are running it. And what a compendium of con artists are the politicians that have let them get away with what we are now only becoming aware of. They were given the water industry debt-free, these people, and they leveraged the infrastructure to borrow £53 billion. And they awarded themselves £72 billion in dividends and bonuses for excellence in being themselves. Those numbers again, they borrowed £53 billion and gave themselves £72 billion. And do you know what £72 billion looks like? Well, imagine a stack of £10 notes 430 miles high. That's £72 billion. I'll just pause and let that sink in. And approximately how many people who went to Eton are on that little earner?
And one.
It's more than that.
Two.
More than that.
6 million.
6 million sounds about right, yeah. Not me, and not you. What a life, eh? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. And don't get me started about Bhutan, which I did mention earlier in the programme and then never got around to again, but maybe I will after the news. Very important news from Bhutan, wherever that is.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Trev says, we don't care about Palestinians being slaughtered, but when our trainers and yoga pants made in Asian sweatshops are delayed in transit, watch out. That's right. Johnny says, they blamed Brexit. I blame broken Britain on Brexit. Cameron, Johnson, Truss and Tichy, they've ruined this once great country. It's very sad. I'm off, says Johnny. No, Johnny, don't go. He said, right, that's it. I'm leaving.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later. Glasgow. Hello, Chrissy.
Hi, Nick.
Chrissy.
I think he's got the right idea. Go, Johnny, go, go, go.
Yeah. Joe, go, go.
Yeah, really? I don't think it goes like that.
It doesn't go like that, does it? No.
No. Go, Johnny, go, go, go. It goes like that kind of thing.
Right, kind of, yeah, a little bit.
No, I don't. Yeah, It's a sweetie shop of catastrophe right now.
Is
and
this a sweetie shop of catastrophe? What does that mean?
It is. Well, I'm just thinking of all the jars of all the things that are going. It's like a sweetie shop. I don't know whether to pick this or pick that.
Oh, like a pick and mix.
So many subjects. A pick and mix,
yeah.
So, I'll have a wee dollop of the apocalypse, and I'll have, can you give me a quarter of smart bombs, please? That's fantastic. The thing about, you were saying earlier on about package deliveries and stuff like that.
Yes.
And British Gas, I know they don't deliver packages, but you were talking about waiting in for packages. It reminded me once I was waiting in for a British Gas person to do some fixing in the house, and he didn't arrive. He didn't arrive in the morning, and I thought, I might have known, So I went out because I had things to do.
Yeah.
And when I came back,
you had to go get your messages.
I had to go and get my messages, and when I came back.
For those who don't know, that's your shopping. Right, yeah.
Yes, that's your shopping. Yeah. For the normal people, that's your shopping.
Yeah.
And when I came back, there was a card through the door saying that they'd been. I thought, oh, you lying gits, I was here. So I phoned them up and I said, listen, I was here till lunchtime. I'll wait for it. Oh, and that's when she told me, but our mornings finish at 1 o'clock.
Oh, great.
And I thought, okay, so are you working on the Gregorian calendar or are you working on... I thought, how stupid that their mornings finish at 1 o'clock. So heads up, if you ever make an appointment, stay until 1 if it's a morning one, in case you miss them.
Yeah.
The Eton thing, they're flooded, did you say?
Apparently.
And it's flood. I don't think they're flooded. I don't think it's flood water. I think they're backed up.
Yeah.
1,300 boys. It'll be tissues. They'll just be all blocked up. They just need to flush with some Perrier and they'll be fine.
They'll be just fine. Yeah.
They'll be just fine flushing with Perrier. Does anybody else have an Armageddon type go bag? I'm beginning to think I'm a bit strange. Are you a prepper?
I'm
a little bit. I'm a tiny bit.
So
of a
okay,
prepper.
so what's in your bag? Because I have to say now that do you remember? I can't remember who it was. One minister. They change them so often that it's hard to keep up. It might have been Grant Shapps. I can't recall. But somebody of that ilk said that you should go out and buy yourself batteries and candles in case all the electricity goes out. And and when I heard that, I thought,
what?
Yeah,
Well, it's funny you say that because if you think about it, there's been a kind of creeping towards this so many minutes to midnight thing, 90 seconds to midnight.
The
because
doomsday
we've had the
clock.
alert system, yes, and we had the alert system that came on the mobiles, which we all kind of went, do they know something we don't?
Yes.
And
it didn't work, by the way. And I wasn't the company who they gave the contract to alert us to danger. Isn't it the same company that was responsible for the computer program that screwed up the lives of the post office workers?
Oh no!
Yeah, I think it's the same
Good
company.
God.
No, yeah,
really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh
yeah.
God, that would be absolutely. Oh God! Well, we're all doomed.
We are
then,
doomed.
enough, aren't
Yeah,
we? We're doomed.
Yeah, we'll be the last to hear.
Oh, goodness sake. Well, there's been lots of these kind of apocalypse, kind of creeping towards things.
Yeah.
And I've always been a little bit kind of scared of that kind of thing since I was a teenager. I was one of these really morbid teenagers that would read up on nuclear weapons and serial killers and stuff like that. I was quite a lonely child. And so I kind of was a bit aware of this at too much of an early age. So I'm very sensitive now. So when I hear... we're coming up with this alert system. And by the way, have you seen that there's a sale on these hand crank radios? You should maybe get yourself one. What do you know that I don't? What are you not telling us?
Yeah.
So in my go bag, which I've had for a while, God, I sound like a crazy person. I've got iodine tablets.
Iodine tablets, right, for nuclear fallout. Mm-hmm.
That's right, to protect your thyroid. I've got a Geiger counter.
Have you?
A Geiger counter. I've got a hand crank radio. I've got a fishing kit.
Now, what does the radio? What? Hang on a minute. What does the radio get? Is it FM, AM?
Yes.
Or is it digital?
Just a traditional.
It's right.
No,
so
it's not a digital.
Not a digital
no,
one.
Digital.
Right. Okay.
Nah, it's a hand crank thing. So it's just,
okay. So, but it is possible that by the time of the apocalypse, then no radio stations will actually be broadcasting on those frequencies. So you'll just get white noise, which will be comforting.
Well, but in those kind of days, that's when they will kind of. They'll
revert.
Right. Yes,
I get you.
De-evolve. I forget the name. Yes, they'll go back the way.
Right. So you got a hand crank. Yes, smoke signal. Oh, there'll be a lot of smoke around. Don't you worry about that. Yeah. So you got your hand crank radio, and what else?
I've got various bags. I've got dry bags, bivvy bags, and sleeping bags. I've got a little list of things here.
What's a dry bag?
Lots of that. A dry bag is one of those ones that's made like kind of like oilcloth, and you can put things in it.
Oh, to keep them dry.
Keeps your stuff dry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Dry bags and bivvy, but actually maybe should have bought roasting bags, shouldn't I?
Yeah, medium freezer bags, because you never know.
Well,
might be cold out.
Nuclear winter.
Yeah.
Bit of roasting bags on my feet and roast them up in case I get hungry.
Yeah.
Got a solar charger, compact utensils, knives, various tools, saw, binoculars.
How big is this bag?
Dried food.
Can you carry this bag?
Yes. But as it happened, it lives in the boot of my car. That's how ready I am. So, and medications, box, and lots of things. LEDs, batteries, power packs, gas. I've got cookers and lights and things. I've got fishing kits and water purifiers.
Holy
I've got all sorts
moly. Well, I tell you what, Chris, if ever I hear this...
Emergency! Everybody to get from street.
Then I'm going to be round your place in about 2 minutes. All right.
Oh, no,
I'll be the one.
No room in the...
Yeah, I'll be the one banging on the door. Thanks a lot, Chrissy. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Nikki texts, the Americans are always rootin', tootin' and shootin', because they got this industrial military complex and the United Kingdom follows them up like a little poodle, but we got no money here for hospitals or doctors or nurses. We've got warm banks and food banks and nobody can get a GP appointment, and we've got loads of money for war. That's right. But we have our own industrial military complex too. And I'm sure that it's a complete coincidence that people with massive interests in the weapons manufacturers are also donors to the Conservative Party. That is, I'm sure, is a complete coincidence. Nothing to do with this regime's belligerence. Milton Keynes. Hello, Philip.
Hello, Nick. Nice to hear from you. I wanted to spend a little bit of a laugh with you. Many years ago, in the late 80s, early 90s, Ted Heath, he was MP of Sidcup and Bexley, and he got invited to a small firm where I used to work. And he looked round the firm and had a good time there talking to everybody. And he said, at the end, when he finished having been taken all around, he thanked everybody for all their, all their lovely talking and a nice chat with everyone. He said, you can all pop down to the pub, your local pub, just down the road here, that one there. He said, the drinks are on me. You can have whatever you like. You can have shorts, anything you like. Pop down there and have a nice time on me. Thank you all very much, and off he went. Anyway, Dave said to me, a chap I used to work with, he said, you going to come down? I said, no, Dave, I don't drink. I'll have a cup of tea and just read my paper. So anyway, they all went down there, and they all had a lovely time for an hour drinking. They all had double scotches and God knows what else. They all had a nice drink. And when they'd all finished and it was time to come back for the afternoon work, the landlord said, who's going to pay for all these drinks? So he said, well, it's on Ted Heath. He's paid for it all. He said, no, he hasn't. Nothing's been paid here. So he said, you can't leave here till you pay for the drinks.
Yeah.
They said, well, no, the Tory chap's sorting it all out. No, I don't think about any of this. He said, I haven't been told any of this. So everybody had to pay for their drinks. They all had to pay for them, and they all came back, all in a foul mood they were.
Yeah, I bet they were, because they ordered drinks that they wouldn't ordinarily do because they would cost so much.
I know. Yeah. And when they came back, I said to Dave, what's the matter? He said, well, Ted Heath's buggered off and they've all had to pay for their drinks.
Right.
The bloody sod.
Yeah, vote Conservative. All right, thanks for the warning there, Phil. A warning from history.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting, Lily. You're in queue, but you know that.
I am. Hello, Nick, and Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, Lily. Have you been to Kew Gardens lately?
I have, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I went for a walk round.
Ah, yes, and?
There were some flowers and some trees and, yeah.
The flora and particularly the fauna.
Exactly, lots of both of them, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was lovely. But I had a couple of things for you. First of all, the chap from Swindon, he came on and he was saying, and you were talking about your school.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite funny because he said it was called Holy Rood School, which is kind of like your show if you're a Tory MP. Holy Rood. Oh, that fell on.
Wow.
Fell on something.
Stony ground you threw that one on, Lily. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you want to tell us that one again? No, don't.
No. Okay. The next one was Jonathan. He mentioned that you said that you killed off Jimmy Carter. But it was his wife who died, and I was trying to ring in, and but I didn't get through. But the thing was, I was, well, first of all, did you know that he had the same great-grandfather as Berry Gordy?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Berry Gordy out of the music mogul. Yeah.
Exactly, yes. I know, I read it somewhere, I couldn't believe it, and then it was on in Wikipedia, so it must be true.
I suppose so, yeah. He's 99 years old, so I was almost right.
But I've got something fascinating to say better than the first thing. So it was about 20 years ago, I went to the festival hall and I saw him, he was in conversation. And it was quite amazing because, you know, at the end they have... No, sorry, I'm missing this up. He was responsible for setting up an institute which looked into the prevention or the cure for a disease called guinea worm, which was quite prevalent in Africa. And they did a lot of research and they pretty much wiped it out. In fact, it says that, you know, he says that he wants the disease to be gone just before him or something like that.
Is that something to do with the eyes?
I think so, yes, exactly, yeah, that's the one. But it really made a mark of it. That was 20 years ago, and they brought out a big cake because it was his 80th birthday.
Right.
And at the Q&A at the end, because usually, you know, they're a bit daft, but this girl asked the question, what's your greatest achievement and what do you still wish to accomplish? And he said achievement was President of the United States. And what do I still want to do? I want to bring the end of guinea worm to the world. I just thought, I bet not many people have those kind of accomplishments. You know, I wish I could achieve things.
He was he was really one of the good guys. You know, he used to. A part of his thing was to build homes for those who need them. You know, they build homes for the poor and the homeless and so on. And he used to just show up without. You know, without an entourage or any of that kind of thing, with a tool belt and a hammer and a electric drill and so on, and he just used to help build a house. And
really?
not just once, but over and over and over again. It was pretty much his sort of self-appointed job. Him and his wife. No, seriously.
Oh, really?
Him and his wife used to build people's houses. Can you imagine Donald Trump doing that?
Oh, shut up!
I mean, really, or doing anything for anybody else.
Well, exactly. Anything altruistic, exactly, let alone being capable of doing it in the first place.
Right, that's right.
Yeah. It is. Things have gone downhill, but
haven't they just?
Yeah, but I think it's the case of that thing where, you know, foreign leaders appear to be better to people outside the the place than they are to the people who live there. You know, like
well, he wasn't overly popular when he was president, but I think he became more popular after he had stepped down from the presidency, just because of what a nice guy he is.
Exactly. Not something you could accuse many of the recent incumbents of being.
No, you could say Obama is still getting good press.
Yeah, he's all right.
But I'm not sure that Joe Biden's reputation is going up, despite the fact that the American economy is going gangbusters. I mean, he's besting Donald Trump on every measure, every single one.
S&P and the Dow Jones are going up.
The stock market, jobs, inflation is down, although it did go up, but that's just world events. But it is way down now. Interest rates way down, infrastructure spending, pretty much every measure that you can look at, Biden is doing better than Trump, and yet Trump's popularity is increasing and Biden's isn't. Biden must be really shaking his head, thinking, what the hell do I have to do here?
We'll have to lose about 20 years, or at least 20.
Yeah. That's it, exactly. Yeah, his problem is he looks like he's made out of parchment.
Exactly. Well, lovely to talk to you, Nick. Happy New Year.
All right, same to you. Thanks a lot, Lily. Cheers, Madeira. 0345 6060 973. Anna says, I was on the march today, which was a peace march, not a hate march, as it's been called. We've been doing and saying the same thing for years, and all of a sudden some people are being arrested for carrying placards. It's a huge overreaction. Thanks for your support, says Anna. Well, don't thank me. I ain't done nothing. Weren't me, mister. I ain't done nothing. Albert says, so if the French or the Spanish Navy or cargo ships get attacked, they won't retaliate, but won't mind if the British or American Navy do the dirty work, says Albert, who is all behind World War III. Let's go. Now, have I done the break yet? I have. 100% sure about that? Okay, then. On your head be it. Sam Batch. Hello, John.
Hi.
John.
Yes. Oh, hiya. I've been that engrossed with listening to what people have been saying.
Yeah.
I forgot all.
Over to you now, John. Wakey, wakey.
You're all about eating the toilets backing up and everything.
Yeah.
Would that mean the boys' school was full of excrement?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So the boys that leave Eton, they end up becoming ministers and politicians and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that all becomes...
You're not a listener with material, are you?
No,
I think so.
It comes out as verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right.
I just couldn't help it.
Yeah, I know. That's not an excuse in the eyes of the law, John. No. I couldn't help it. I'm sure that is not going to actually help you before a judge. All right. Thanks a lot, John. I wish you the best of luck. 0345 6060 973. Guilty. James says, legislations to be passed, protest/demonstration held on topics not, capital letters, directly affecting our country should be paid for by the organisers sorted. Does that make sense?
No.
Legislations to be passed, protest/demonstration held on topics not, capital letters, directly affecting our country should be paid for by the organisers sorted. Okay, I still don't get it, but he's very, very angry about something. That much I do know. Furious. Martin says, they're taking the mick, Nick. Petrol's 10p a litre cheaper than this time last year because of falling wholesale costs. So why have gas and electricity prices gone up in January? Yeah, well, that's a very good question. Because they can do anything they want. And we've given the evidence that that's the case by not doing anything about it. I mean, if the fuel costs in France were what ours are, France would be on fire right now. And to hell with the cost of the fuel for that fire. They just set light to it anyway. But we just shrug our shoulders going, oh, well, never mind. Mustn't grumble. We used to be called Rip-Off Britain. Do you remember that? This was just about when the internet started up. And there were forever comparisons in the tabloid press about what stuff would cost in America, for instance, compared to here, or in Europe. Rip-Off Britain, they used to call it. And then it either it stopped being the case, or those stories just became a little bit too dull for them, because once a paper has done a story, then they're not really interested in following it up. They just throw it at you, and if it sticks, then they'll write another story on that subject for a couple of days, like dogs attacking. Now, I haven't read a story about a dog attack in a good long while, many weeks. But believe me, they happen every single day. They probably happen every hour of every day. They haven't stopped. It's just that the journalists have stopped writing about them because, they're bored of that. And they think you're bored. And so they just pick something else to write about and to fret about. But it's happening still. Can't remember what I was talking about now. Rebecca says, whereabouts is the Feces Club in London? It's owned and run by Thames Water, says Rebecca. I did not know that. Are they accepting membership requests? Janos says, regarding air fryers and stuff, cut a jacket potato into 8 pieces, fork them, microwave them for 6 minutes, then air fry them for 10 minutes. Yummy, says Janos. Well, funny you should say that, Janos, but I just discovered how to do roast potatoes. Having failed every single time that I've used, and I must have tried at least 50 times since I bought an air fryer. Stupidly bought an air fryer about this time last year. And I must have tried every single week to make either chips or roast potatoes and failed every time. It's the only reason I bought the blooming thing in the first place, and it's the only thing it can't do. And then I discovered a trick. Oh! Best roast potatoes ever. I mean it. I'll come to that in a minute. I also do have a vague memory of saying that I tried something that I couldn't do. And it's pretty much the only thing that I just couldn't, that I've ever tried in my life, that I had absolutely no ability to do at all. And I do recall that I started saying that, but then I forgot to tell you what it was. So I'll do that as well as giving you the world's best roast potato recipe. Certainly the best roasties I've ever had. Having failed every week for a year to make them, I've finally come up with the magic solution. And I will lay that on you in some moments. I should remind you, by the way, that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, the podcast is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol. It's twice a week now.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so we do need your dilemmas. If you have a dilemma that you want us to solve, then send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That is NICKANDCAROL @global.com. But you must prepare to be totally satisfied. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? You'll love it.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Yes, this call is coming from Oldbury, and it's Ranjit. Ranjit.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yes, good, thanks. You're a chef. Have you ever used one of them air fryers?
Oh, no, but my family uses them, so I don't even know how to use them or whatever. I don't even understand the principle. So
They're completely useless for potatoes. Don't even think about it.
I just fry fish and chips and that's it, and cut down the kebabs and that's it. So
Do you actually eat fish and chips every day? Or because you're surrounded by them on a daily basis, can you just not stand the thought of it?
No, I have something from the shop every day, at least once.
Okay.
Yeah, every day. So, because, I mean, I don't eat beef, so I don't have anything with beef in, but otherwise, yes, everything. Right. This one. But my doctors told me to cut down on the chips because I'm diabetic, so...
Well, you know what to do about that, Ranjit?
What?
Go to a different doctor.
Yeah, it was good to hear Jonathan today. He's a socialite of Harrow, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. You're going to imagine what I'm talking about now. You know when you went to the Houses of Parliament, yeah? And you've seen all the old geezers bouncing off the walls and the young bucks looking after them.
I've never seen so much drunkenness since I was at university. First week, freshers' week at the uni bar. I'm not making it up. I'm not exaggerating. These people were absolutely hammered.
Okay. I've been using my imagination, right, because I've heard you say it before. Sumo wrestlers, yeah?
Sumo wrestlers?
Sumo wrestlers. The senior sumo wrestlers, the ones which are really big, yeah? Now, imagine they're crouching, yeah? Their arms aren't long enough to reach certain places.
Oh.
Okay? Talking about the toilets in what you call it, Eton and that. So they have these young sumo wrestlers that have to clean them up.
Oh, come on.
Did you know that?
I did not know. I didn't know.
That's a fact.
It?
That's my comparison, right?
Right.
Of the people in the Houses of Parliament. I've been thinking about this for weeks, but I always keep on forgetting.
Right. Like sumo wrestlers. I'll never think of them in any other way.
No. You know the guy that was trying to explain economics to you and how money's printed and that, yeah? Okay. Back in the old days, Ranjit would come to Nick and say, right, Nick, I've got this sheep, yeah, can I exchange it for your cow? And you think, okay, actually, you know what?
That's a terrible deal. You want my cow for that sheep? No way. Look at the state of it.
Yeah, you say, well, if you give me 2 sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Right? And then if I'm lucky, your cow might be pregnant when I take her home.
Right.
Yeah, and she'll have a baby and give me lots of milk.
Yes.
Right? So that's economy, yeah? So what America's been doing over the years, right? Say, for example, with the Saudis, they'll print money, yeah? And now these days it's all electronic, isn't it? So they'll send loads of money to Saudi Arabia to get the oil.
They'll email it to them. As an attachment.
As an attachment, yeah. As an attachment, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there is some science in what I'm saying.
Right.
And the oil will go over, and then the Saudis say to the Americans, well, we need some weapons off you, right? So if we send you the money back, can you give us the weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Americans basically are exchanging oil for weapons all around the world.
Yes.
And where Saddam Hussein made the mistake, he said to the Americans, I'll sell you the oil, but that money that I want to invest where I like it. Okay? And through that would destroy America's economy, and that's why now, like you said, weapons manufacturers sponsoring parties everywhere, yeah?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had a small personal explosion. Oh, that was fabulous.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, right, that is what is causing all these wars all over the world. It's the manufacturers of weaponry, and that's the biggest trade there is in the world.
Well, it's
even bigger than drugs.
Yeah, no doubt. And by complete coincidence, a lot of the manufacturers of weapons systems are also donors to the relevant political parties. That is a coincidence, I'm sure.
Are you using chemical warfare in the studio at the moment, then? you know, because you're having these little explosions somewhere. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it was a massive sneeze. I think you were talking. You talked all over it. Yeah, I think it probably came over the radio like a massive sneeze. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It just depends which way you're firing. Really,
From my face, Ranjit. Let's not get carried away.
These toilets in Eton as well. Yeah.
Are we still on about the toilets?
Yeah, I'm not surprised after Boris Johnson left there.
Okay.
He must have
all right. Okay, say goodbye. Good night, Ranjit. Anything to say, Bodge?
I can't comment.
Can't comment on that. No, you might want to leave it a couple of minutes before you go in, though. 0345 6060 973. Nicola says, would Jonathan please stand for PM? At least we could all die laughing. I love him almost as much as you, says Nicola. Thanks, Nicola. Appreciate it. This one says, they get the nurses to smile or the nurses won't get their contracts renewed. You could call it blackmail. I'm an ex-nurse. That's in relation to when the representatives of
this government
go around a hospital, and they can always find about half a dozen nurses and doctors willing to have a picture taken with a representative of
this government
smiling. And I'm always thinking, well, why are they smiling? I mean, that looks like fraternising to me. Why are you lending your image to propping up the popularity of the people that are ruining where you are working, I think? Fraternising with the enemy, essentially. Why are you smiling in his presence? Is it out of nervousness? Here comes a famous person with an entourage, titchy suit size. And then he hands out some cheap sweets that one of his assistants has got for him, and makes out like it's that makes it all okay. And there they are smiling. It just drives me up the wall when they manage to find so many people in hospital who are willing to have their picture taken with the regime, who are responsible for the misery that they have to suffer for the other 364 days of the year. Drives me mad. I mean, I just flat out wouldn't do it. If they said that Tishy Suit Size was coming to this place of work and he wants to have a little chin wag or pretend to talk to us while he has his photograph taken, I would be obvious by my absence. Wouldn't see me for dust. No way. I'd hide in the cupboard if necessary. I'd be in the fridge with Boris Johnson. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Darryl says, I'm not really relishing the prospect of World War III. In my experience, the third part of a trilogy is usually a bit of a letdown. Well, that is true. The third part. Yeah, we had Terminator 1, which was excellent, and Terminator 2, which was even better.
Correct.
Terminator 3, I can't remember what Terminator 3 was. Was it the woman robot, or was that 4? Anyway, 3 was no good. We had Alien, which was epic, and Aliens, which was really great, mostly. I'm trying to think of a third thing of anything that was any good. Good point. Oh, I've got one. Back to the Future. Back to the Future 1 was one of the greatest family films of all time. 2 was okay. And 3 was back to brilliant again. But other than that, yeah, so World War III, I'm not really holding out much hope. I think it would be boring. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Romford. John.
Hey, Nick, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
John with a Little Pallet Company.
With a little what now?
Little Pallet Company.
Oh.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
What's a little pallet?
Well, I'm basically a small businessman who's got a small pallet company. So I call it a little pallet company.
Right.
They're not actually little pallets.
Oh, right. So they're full-size pallets.
They're full-size pallets.
But you don't have many of them.
Oh no, I've got loads of them. I've got a whole yard full of them.
Right.
Whole yard full of them, Nick. That's the thing. Nick, I heard you last night, speaking about magnets. I can't remember what you were saying about magnets, but it led me to remember, that Donald Trump a couple of days ago said that if you drop a magnet into water, it demagnetizes. Did you know that?
That's nonsense.
No, but apparently Donald Trump said it, and the last time he told us all to drink bleach.
Bleach, yeah.
So, and this time it's, magnets. I'm wondering whether or not he had one of those little fishing sets when he was a kid. One of the plastic fishing sets where you give it to a kid and they put it in, and they put the little fish in water,
right,
and then they fish them out. I wonder if he ever had one of those when he was a kid. But, he said that in front of a crowd of people, and they all cheered him.
Right, he probably said it in front of his fans.
I love the poorly educated.
The dinglings. Those people.
I heard one of your callers earlier say that it would be good to have Donald Trump back, and I'm just wondering, is he one of the poorly educated?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, almost certainly, yeah.
Definitely. Anyway, thanks, Nick.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Thanks for alerting us to that whole magnet issue. 0345. Why was Donald Trump talking about magnets? Is that how he attaches his hair in the morning?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Some whack job can say this stuff and get away with it?
So at a recent rally in Mason City, Iowa, the former president of the United States of America went on a rant about the frailty of magnets while complaining about the Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier. Oh, Struth, is he still on about this? He's been going on about this for years. The ship's got an electromagnetic... The ship has an electromagnetic aircraft launch system that relies on very large magnets. They're huge. So basically, it chucks these aircraft off the boat using magnets. They used to, if you've seen Top Gun, then you'll have seen them, they launch them with like this wire, the same system that they bring them to a halt with when they're landing, kind of. Trump says they had a $900 million cost over on these stupid electric catapults that didn't work. They had almost $1 billion cost over on the magnetic elevators, he said. He said, think of it, magnets. Now, all I know about magnets is this, he said. Give me a glass of water, let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnets, he said. You're a moron, Donald Trump.
Don't be rude.
No such thing happens. Magnets work just fine underwater. What are you talking about? See, that's one of the bad things about him, is that he's actually funny. Usually unintentionally. I mean, I've never heard him actually be funny intentionally. But he manages to find a way, despite himself. But don't be amused, be appalled. 0345 6060 973. Cuffley, Lucy. Where's Cuffley, Lucy?
Oh, okay. Hi, Nick. Cuffley, you might have heard of Potter's Bar because that is where the traffic jams are.
Yes, Potter's Bar.
Right. Do you know what? It's so when I listen to you, you talk to me like you know me, and you're saying, "Oh, this is so funny," and I recognise Carol McGriffin. I love her. She has my birthday.
Your birthday?
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. 18th of February.
18th of February.
Oh, right, yeah. It's coming up soon.
Coming up soon.
Fact,
oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And just let her know that actually, because she and me probably celebrate Pancake Day on the same date.
Yeah.
And it's this year, it's on the 13th.
Is it? Well, you're
13th.
you're like cosmic twins.
Yeah, 13th. It's 13th of February, which is actually the Tuesday before. So she needs to perk up and know that.
Yeah.
And, I just, all this Donald Trump, he's so, do you know what?
Well, Lucy, if it's any help, Lucy, you're making a lot of sense. Okay. And I wish you all the best. Have a little lie down. Just relax, put your feet up. You deserve it. Thanks, Lucy. I'll pass on your best to Carol. Sheila says, you are wrong. The old people I know will be voting reform. I'm wrong about what? Maybe this is from a long while ago, and I've been speaking about 86,000 different subjects in between, and I forgot that, she's just responding to some comment I made about 3 hours ago, which I don't recall. I don't remember. I don't recall. It's like sitting in front of a public inquiry, being a member of...
This government...
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't recall. I'm thinking, no idea. I don't recognise those facts. I have completely different facts that I'm relying on. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Oh, hey, Nick.
There you are.
I got some news for you.
Yes.
We have had a petition signed, and it's gone to about 12,000 signatures, to change the name of Wales to its original name,
which is
of Cymru.
Cymru, right?
Cymru. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in case you find lots of people milling around, say Birmingham, trying to find Wales because of it won't be signposted, you can help them.
Yes.
It's like the Banau Brycheiniog, which you know where they are.
Yeah.
Yep. And just to put you in the picture, there is the biggest ever load of things moving from Newport to Hirwaun, which is on the boundaries of the Banau Brycheiniog. It's about 30. It's like an electrical transformer thing, and it's half a football pitch long. It's being pushed and pulled by two enormous tractor units, each with 26 axles. They're articulated, and the thing is going to travel from Newport to Hirwaun, just about 30 miles. It can only travel at night and 5 miles an hour. So if you want to come down and see it...
I do want to see that. I really do.
And it's going to travel through sort of, I can only describe it, terraced streets.
Wow, really?
Sometimes on the motorway, sometimes on a normal road, so to speak.
And what is this thing?
It's to do with the grid. It's a transformer type
and it's
generator.
It's as long as half a football pitch.
Yeah.
Wow. How's it going to go round corners?
Well, at the front of it, it's articulated, and at the back of it, it's articulated. It can only travel at night and at 5 miles an hour, so they've got to shut the road completely to let the thing go up. It's going to be an enormous operation. It's going to take about 4 weeks to get 30 miles.
And, blimey. So I guess it's too heavy to helicopter in?
159 tons.
Oh, blimey. Now, you'd think that... So couldn't they make it in the place where it's going?
Well, it looks very much to me, I don't know the background, but it's come in through Newport Docks and needs to be transformed. The other sort of fact that was with it, it's only going to work for 1,500 hours in the year. It's to do with the grid and overloading and underloading or whatever they do.
Right.
Okay? And it's an enormous thing. It's just enormous.
What colour is it?
It's like as if a huge long girder or like a crane type structure with a thing in the middle.
What thing?
This transformer thing.
Oh, I see. Right. But what colour is it? I'm just trying to picture it. Red, right. Why wouldn't it be red? Of course. Yes.
Bright.
So I'll have a vehicle in front with all lights blazing and one in the back with abnormal load written on it.
Yeah. And 26 axles on each one of them.
That's Thunderbirds stuff, isn't it?
It is.
How exciting! I do want to come down. Yeah,
you get yourself a pint and then because it won't be far from the Goose and Cuckoo.
The Goose and Cuckoo. Yeah.
Okay, just to put you in the picture.
Well, that's excellent. So when does it start?
I think it has already started.
Oh.
And it's going to be over virtually all of January.
Wow.
Travelling.
I am
5 miles an hour at night.
I'm beside myself. All right, good work there. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
So long.
Forthcoming attractions over at your place. It'll be rumbling by you if you're on that stretch. It'll take forever to get by you, 5 miles an hour. And you got people complaining in Wales about driving at 20 miles an hour.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Try 5 miles an hour. That must be a nightmare. 5 miles an hour. Have you got a picture of it? Let's have a look. Wow. That is Thunderbird stuff. Oh, seriously, you want to look this thing up. That's magnificent. And they'll have to close the road north because it spans 2 lanes. I love it. Yeah. It's almost worth taking a holiday down to Cymru and see what you can see. Sure, why not? I mean, you ain't got nothing else on, have you? Oh, by the way, how to make roast potato. Okay, 2 things before I go. One, the thing that I tried that I was quite surprised I have absolutely no ability to do at all. It's the first thing I've ever tried that I couldn't do at all. Jigsaw puzzles. The moment I opened the box and poured them out on the table, the very second that happened, I thought, this is not for me. And it proved to be so. I couldn't do it at all. I couldn't put 2 pieces together. I stared at that thing for half an hour. And it was only 500 pieces. If I'd bought one of the boxes that had 1,000 pieces in, I think I'd probably have taken a flamethrower to it. It was extremely annoying. But I felt completely useless, being as how I was. And the roast potatoes thing, cramming it all this hot information in the last minute or so. Cook them in the... Because I've been trying to do roasties in the air fryer, and it just doesn't work at all. Cook them in the oven until they're about half done, and then put them in the air fryer. Oh, talk about perfect. Best roasties ever. Mmm.